Hey there everyone, this is Laura from Virtual Tarot School, and I'm really excited to tell you about filling in the missing pieces this fall to create the most comprehensive series or group of tarot trainings I've ever had the privilege to offer. And I just wanted to give you a little bit of insight into why I've come up with this particular grouping of trainings for you and why I think it's the right combination to really spur you into your tarot reading career in the most masterful way that you can, because I think there's a lot of pieces that are usually missing from tarot trainings for most of us out there as readers. So let me kind of show you what I mean really quickly. So usually when you enroll in a tarot course, all you're really going to get from that tarot course is a series of someone else's meanings for the cards, and you're going to somehow feel like you need to memorize those meanings. And then essentially the cue after that is start reading. And that's about where they leave you, which is a very incomplete way of learning tarot and a very ineffective way. And I don't think it actually leads to being a good tarot reader at all. So here's instead what I think needs to happen to really master the art of tarot reading. Instead of memorizing meanings of cards, what you actually need to be doing is learning patterns within that deck. So for instance, in the Tarot for Beginners course that we have here at Virtual Tarot School, instead of giving you a separate meaning for each card, what we do is we tell you generally what all of the wands are about, what all of the swords are about, what all of the pentacles are about, what all of the cups are about. And then we tell you what all of the number 3 cards are generally about, and what all of the number 4 cards are generally about, and so on and so forth. So that instead of having to memorize 78 different meanings, what you instead get is a basic pattern down for the 4 suits, a basic pattern of meaning down for each of the 10 numbers, a basic pattern of meaning down for each of the 4 court cards in each suit. And then we have a whole other system that we'll look at in a little bit, in a little more detail here for you, into how to better understand the 22 major arcana cards. So in order to do that, we put those cards in a pattern in a tableau in front of you, and we go through the meanings and we draw correlations between the visual aspects of the cards, and we tell stories and all sorts of things that are basically going to really help to train your brain to understand the cards in a much deeper and more complete way than memorizing some sort of abstract meaning for each of the 78 cards would ever do. And what I find is when people come out of learning tarot through this methodology, their meanings come from them more, because they're just drawing on a pattern and then they're interpreting that meaning individually per reading, and they're actually able to do that because the patterns they've learned are much easier to learn than individual abstract meanings. So that basically tells you, first of all, how the basic Tarot for Beginners course at VTS differs from a lot of tarot trainings out there. So once you have that deeper series, that patterning of meaning of the cards in you, instead of just rote memorizations, what is then possible for you to do, because your brain isn't on overload with 78 different meanings for these cards, is you actually get a chance then to do way more in-depth advanced tarot classes where you get a level of understanding of these cards that just wouldn't be available to you if you were really hung up on memorizing the meanings. So after the Tarot for Beginners class, what we then have is a whole masterclass series for you. The first masterclass series I've had out for a little over a year now, and it's a whole series of trainings, 16 hours of trainings that focus on the suits of the tarot: fire, water, air, and earth suits, which are usually called wands, cups, swords, and pentacles, but can go by different meanings. And we really unpack the energies and the in-depth meanings of those suits in much more detail for an additional 16 hours in that first Masterclass Series 1. Now, what I'm about to offer this fall is Masterclass Series 2, which is going to be something that you'll have a chance to digest and consume if you come on with this course as they come out. And what I'm going to do with Masterclass 2 is I'm actually going to do a 2-hour lecture on each of the major arcana keys. Now, there are 22 major arcana cards in the deck. So what I think is going to happen here, when you have not only the Tarot for Beginners class, not only the Masterclass Series 1 focusing on the suits, and every one of the minor arcana cards, and there's 56 of them, is in one of those 4 suits that's covered in Masterclass Series 1. Masterclass Series 2 fills out the more in-depth analysis of the entire deck, giving us an in-depth training on the remaining 22 cards. And for each of those remaining 22 cards, the major arcana cards, you get a full 2-hour lecture on each of those cards. So talk about in-depth advanced trainings. Usually you won't really have a chance in a tarot card training to go beyond what is covered in the basic Tarot for Beginners course we have here. But because we structured that in such a way that it doesn't leave you on overwhelm, you really get to immerse in another, well, okay, there's 44 hours of trainings in this new course, and then the 16 hours in the first masterclass series. So another 60 hours of in-depth advanced trainings for you there. These are really, there's so much detail and information in these courses that this is probably the only series of tarot classes that you will ever need to purchase for your entire tarot reading career. And the beautiful thing that we have when you purchase these courses for you is a lifetime access to these courses. So even if you don't see yourself doing 60 hours of advanced training in tarot this year, these classes will always be accessible for you, even in 5 years. So you'll always be able to go back to these classes when you're ready and as you're ready for more. So it's an investment in really your career as a tarot card reader on the deepest level possible. But then even with all of that conceptual knowledge of the cards, which is basically what is going on in the classes in Beginners 1 and Masterclass Series 1 and 2, that's all conceptual knowledge, right? There's still some pieces missing if we're going to be really adept readers. And these things really are missing, I feel, because of 2 things. One thing is a really great tarot card reader isn't necessarily going to just come from their head when they're reading cards. They're going to also have an energetic body experience that starts becoming more and more a big part of their intuition. So when you develop your intuition, what starts to happen is you start getting intuitive ideas to bring into your readings, which come from many more places than just your mind. Some intuitive practitioners find that they develop a sense of heightened sound or sense or sight or hearing that really cues them in and gives them intuitive signals. And then a lot of other intuitive readers describe just sort of buzzy energy in parts of their body and a feeling of expansion if something is correct or congruent with their intuition, and a feeling of contraction or repulsion if something is not true. And so what I also wanted to do this year was really explore the tie between people's energy bodies and these archetypes of the major arcana of the tarot. To the extent that I wanted to see if there were ways to connect in a much more visceral or energetic sense to each of these archetypes with our energy bodies. So that sometimes when you're reading, you can just get a feeling that feels like an empress feeling, or feels like a hermit feeling, or feels like a Wheel of Fortune feeling that can sometimes go beyond words. So what I really went into with this exploration of the energy body aspect of these archetypes is we really need to learn how these archetypes of the tarot feel in our bodies. And I created an entire program for that this spring called Healing with the Archetypes. And in with this compendium package, I'm also giving you the entire 22-part archetypal energetic reconnection series that I've been creating for Healing with the Archetypes. That's 44 hours essentially of energy work, 2 hours each for each of those major arcana cards again, so that you can get a very complete and full sense energetically of what these archetypes are all about. So that if you're becoming a more intuitive reader, where after a while you feel like you want to leave your logic brain and come into your energy body more with your readings, you have a way to get started doing that as well through those 44 additional hours of energy training. So that's all included in the compendium as well. Now, in addition to advanced knowledge of the cards, energetic congruence and knowledge of how these archetypes feel in your body, the other thing that I think is really lacking for most readers is just really a sense of experience with the cards that comes from practice, 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 practice. If anyone in here has read Malcolm Gladwell's book Outliers, what Gladwell dissects very scientifically in Outliers is that the true masters in any field of study, learning, art, the people who really stand out and shine in the field of music, what makes the Beatles different from the fly-by-night one-hit wonder? Why were the Beatles so successful? And he has many examples from different fields: piloting, mathematics, computer science and engineering, affluence. What makes the true geniuses in each of those fields really stand out? And Gladwell argues that one of the main factors is having an access to continued immersive practice that is above and beyond what anybody else has access to. So I think this is actually true of also mastering the art of tarot reading. What if, beyond all of the knowledge that I can give you in tarot, you also had a way to practice, 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 practice with your peers, with the other students who've been learning with you, and with me? What if you got to read and interpret and follow along with other people's interpretations of a tarot spread on a weekly basis? And what if we read something like 5 to 10 tarot spreads together every week? Unpacked 5 to 10 different tarot spreads for real life examples for real life people. What would happen if you had that amount of immersion possible in your tarot reading is that you would become a very experienced reader very fast. Sometimes cards take on a meaning that is very specific to you, and cards will show up for you in your readings in a particular way that is actually quite different from how that card would show up for someone else. So getting under your belt a certain number of hours of actual reading time is very important. And of course, this is usually where any sort of distance learning course will fall short, because you don't necessarily get the live individualized interaction of reading after reading after reading in a peer group of students. Well, we're also going to solve that problem in this compendium course. What we're going to be doing is, on a weekly basis starting in October, we are actually all going to be able to get on a live private webcast just for our group. Before the webcast starts, you and everyone else in our learning group will be able to actually email me a question or an issue that you would like a full 10-card spread read for you on that week. So you'll have the opportunity to get a full in-depth tarot reading every week for 6 weeks starting in October. And the purpose of this is not just to shed light on your own life by giving you, 6 readings, but also to allow your peers to see the reading, which we'll do anonymously in the group. So you'll email me what you want to address in a reading, and I will then put this to the group in an anonymous way so that nobody knows whose issue is whose. You're perfectly welcome to share with the group if you want to, but it can certainly be in anonymity. And then before our webcast starts, what I will do for everyone in the group is I will actually sit down and I will actually draw a 10-card spread for your issue and for everyone else's issue in the group. I will take pictures of that 10-card spread and the cards in that spread and how they were laid out when they came out. And then on the webcast, what we'll do is we'll look at all of the 10-card spreads of that week. We'll pair them with the issues that had been read for, and then we'll all have a chance to chime in with our interpretations and analyses of those 10-card spreads. So not only do you get your cards read for you every week, but you get to observe a team of people dissecting a group of Celtic cross spreads every week. So this is the most amount of reading for you that I can offer, and in a live setting too, but also it gives you the chance to read and read and read and read and read for other people on these calls. Now, if you can't join us live on these calls are also going to be recorded for you with slides to follow along with, so that even if you can't join us live, you'll be able to listen to the recording and receive your readings in that way. So I think this practice group is going to be very, very useful, and it's something that many people have actually been asking me for. So we're also doing that this fall. So honestly, together with all of the in-depth training on the cards themselves, the energetic body's experience of the cards and getting a handle on that, and then actually practice groups for readings, there's really no more comprehensive way to get a holistic, immersive, advanced training in tarot under your belt. So here's a breakdown of all of the things that we've just discussed, and they're all sort of separate courses, really, if you think about it. The Tarot for Beginners course usually runs $67 if you went to Virtual Tarot School's products page today and bought it. And the Masterclass Series 1 usually runs $67 as well. There's 9 hours of training in Tarot for Beginners. There's 16 hours of training in the Masterclass Series 1. The Masterclass Series 2 is the one coming up starting in October. It's 22 classes of 2 hours in length each on each of the major arcana cards. So that will be selling for $247 on our site. The Healing with the Archetypes, the energy body reconnection session with those same major arcana cards, Perfect Companion course, retails for $247. And then the practice group, we're actually going to be reading a consistent spread in the group that I want everyone to get a really good feel for. So every spread that we do for that 6-week practice group for everybody is going to be a Celtic cross spread. You'll learn more about the Celtic cross spread and why that one's so important to get a good handle on when you take the Tarot for Beginners course. But that practice group is going to be separately sold for $147 usually. But to give you guys the most comprehensive compendium of tarot, advanced tarot trainings that I can possibly put together for you, the most comprehensive training package out there today, instead of the $775 that all of this would ordinarily add up to, for this week, because I want live students in this practice group with me, and I want live students taking the new Major Arcana Series 2 class with me, and I want live people receiving what is left of the Healing with the Archetypes 22 class course that has not been recorded yet, which is about 11 of them are remaining. 11 of them you'll receive in recording already, and then we've got 11 more to do in our group over there. I really value having live people take these trainings with me, for obvious reasons. You guys get to do them first, but you also get the benefit of giving me live feedback on how these are going. So you're sort of my guinea pigs with these trainings. So because a lot of these are new courses and we are creating a lot of this new course group material as we go, especially the practice group, I do have to put a deadline on the enrollment in this compendium. So we're only going to be accepting students through this week, and we're only accepting the first 100 students. So because of all of that, and because it's a time-sensitive issue, instead of $775 for all of this material, and this is, let me add it up here, it's 25 hours in the first two classes there. Series 2 is 44 hours. Healing with the Archetypes is 44 hours. So 88 plus the 6 practice group sessions would be 98, 100. So this is 125 hours of tarot training for you. 125 hours of training. And instead of that being $775, instead, you're actually only going to be paying $247 for this 125-hour package of trainings. And we can also break that down into 4 individual payments of only $67 for you. So that's only if you do it this week, because we want people to come in here to help us out. I wanted to just give you a little picture for the things you get immediately. They're available to you to go through at your own pace immediately upon purchasing this package. These are just some screenshots from my Tarot for Beginners class. There are 16 classes, and each class that you click through on gives you a video for that class, as you can see here on the page. So that's a lot of what the Tarot for Beginners course looks like. We first of all go through the introduction, the history of the tarot, and then we go into the 4 suits of the tarot, and then we go into dissecting all of the numbers of the tarot for you, all of the meanings of the numbers, and then we look at the meanings of all of the court cards for you. And then we have basically 3 or 4 videos on the major arcana of the tarot. And then the second half of the class, from 11 through to class 16, are focused on actual reading of the cards. So it's a nice 9-hour overview altogether, and it's broken up into 16 different mini classes for you. That's the Tarot for Beginners course. Masterclass Series 1 looks like this when you get it, and you click on these and you get video trainings just like in the beginners classes when you click on any of these classes to scroll through. And as you can see, they're very in-depth trainings, 16 hours in total of in-depth training on all of the suits. Now, Masterclass Series 2 is the one that we're going to be beginning starting in October. So you'll be the first people to take this course live. And it goes through these 22 major arcana cards of the tarot and gives you a 2-hour lecture on each of these cards, the symbols in these cards, the mythologies associated with the cards, the Jungian archetypes associated with these cards, the patterns of these cards, the numerology of the cards, the astrology associated with the cards, the Kabbalah associated with the cards. I've never seen a 2-hour lecture on each individual card done before, so this is a very advanced training coming up. Healing with the Archetypes, like I said, is sort of these are the trainings. There's 11 of them up for you already that you'll be receiving upon purchase, and then 11 more coming over the course of this fall that you'll be able to get as they come out. And these are the sessions where we're dealing with visceral and energetic connection to the major arcana cards. This is just an example of one of about 7 or 8 slides that are in, for instance, this is the energetic reconnection session for the Hermit, which is one of the major arcana cards. And in this particular section, I'm looking at the correlation between the Hermit archetype and the endocrine system, and then we lead you through a series of reconnection, energy reconnection sessions that focus on the endocrine system to kind of light up the energetic light bulbs, if you will, associated with the hermit archetype. So that's an example of one of dozens of slides that you'll be getting for every single archetype when you do the energetic reconnection sessions. And in these sessions, the other part of these includes a lot of acupressure and acupuncture points and mudras. We also do mantras, we also do breath work, pranayama, all to connect with these energy fields that vibrate at a certain frequency for each of these archetypes. So that's just a sample of the work you get in the 22 Healing with the Archetypes sessions. And then I think I went over in depth the Celtic Cross Readers practice group and how that's going to work. It's a 6-week group that we're going to do. And we already went over this. I just wanted to give you a slide to just really, go into that in a little more detail for you. So I'm really excited about that group. I've actually had a lot of questions about a group like this being possible to do. So we're going to give this a go, and we're going to do this via private webcasts, as we said. So that's what you get in detail, and that's all written out for you on this page too. If you want to go over it, in black and white, it's all here for you. And there's a button to click on this page to do this purchase. Again, I am only taking the first 100 students. Obviously, more than that is going to be impossible to deal with the live reading group, and we probably won't. If we get 100, we're probably not going to do them all in one session. I'll probably do some recorded sessions and some live sessions at 100. But obviously beyond 100 readings a week is going to be absolutely impossible for anyone to do. So we do have a limit on the number of students we'll be enrolling here, and we also have a limit on you having to enroll this week because of the live nature of some of the compendium coursework that you're getting with this. So I hope you join us. I'm really excited about this. It is the most complete, the most advanced, the most holistic tarot training compendium that I can offer. And all of this work is going to be available to you as a complete lifetime investment in your tarot career. So none of this will ever be taken away from you after you buy it. You have lifetime access to it all. So truly an investment in your lifetime career in tarot for an over $500 discount here. So join us. I look forward to working with you more very soon. Thanks for joining us.